Hello everyone. So today I will be speaking about probiotics to help take care of our new self. We all saw last year an evolution of consumers' behavior, and we saw as well the emergence of new needs, and more specifically in terms of food supplements and probiotic markets. So to understand our new self, we will need first to understand our new needs. And in that presentation, we will see how probiotics can help support these new needs. So first, I will give you a short introduction about the Lallemand company, which is a Canadian-based company specialized in yeast and bacteria and their own derivatives. So Lallemand Health Solutions is a division of Lallemand dedicated to probiotics for human nutrition. So we have more than 85 years of know-how. We have a worldwide presence and we have more than 40 proprietaries trained, allowing us to do some specific and unique formulas. We can also benefit from our R&D integrated platform, so covering from in vitro up to in vivo and clinical studies. And then thanks to this scientific documentation, we can target different health positioning. So from the more common ones like gut health and natural defenses, but also up to most innovative ones like brain galaxies and also metabolism. So first, we will look at these new needs, and we will, to do that, we will look at consumers and market data. So for sure, we saw last year that 64% of global consumers stated that the coronavirus made them more conscious about their immunity, and 43% about their mental well-being. So for sure, immunity and mental health were really predominant in terms of needs. And then we could also witness that 18% of global consumers look to increase their probiotic intake because of the current situation. In parallel, there is also this mantra, healthy mind, healthy body, which actually really resonates with the increased awareness of consumers about the fact to consider on an equal footing psychological well-being and a good physical health. So actually where to start and how we can support these new needs. So actually I would consider the probiotics because of their holistic effect. So we all know that probiotics can really provide solutions for gut health. This is worldwide recognized and clinically documented. But beyond that, there are also scientific evidence to show that probiotics can have a beneficial effect on immunity and also mental health. In order to understand that, we need to see and to know that actually 70% of the immune system is actually present in our gut. And we can also see that 500 million neurons are also present in our gut. This is what we call the enteric nervous system. So actually the action of probiotics will start in the gut. And then from there, the probiotics will be able to communicate with the immune system and the brain. And this is what we call the brain galaxies. So in that presentation, I will show you different probiotic solutions to target the needs of specific age category. So first, starting with infant and child immunity. So what we have seen is that in 2020, 23.5% of the parents they were unsatisfied with their children's immune system. And in parallel, we could see this significant increase by 69% of online reviews for children's probiotic for immunity. So for sure, the parents were looking for solutions to improve the immunity of their children. So as the first solutions, I would start actually to speak about ProbioKid. So this is a specific combination of 3 probiotic bacteria as well as a prebiotic, the fructooligosaccharides. I like to call it the superhero for child immunity because there are several studies actually in this specific population. So first, there are 2 on enhanced immunity in healthy children, and I will take the first graph on the right as an example of results obtained in this population. So here you can see that actually ProbioKid in children from 3 to 6 years old was able during winter time to decrease by 25% the relative risk of an adverse health event compared to placebo. Then we have also more specific study in children with common respiratory infection and or weeping. And in that study, we showed that the ProbioKid could help in the maturation of the immune system. And as we can see on the second graph, here we looked at immune markers, and we could see the significant increase of immunoglobulin A levels during the intake of the ProbioKid. Just to let you know that this combination has also been studied in case of pediatric diarrhea. So the ProbioKid is also an interesting solution for babies, as we have 2 clinical and safety studies in this specific population, showing the support of a baby-specific microflora, as well as the maintenance of a higher immunoglobulin A levels. In terms of regulatory status, so we have the GRAS status for infant formula for both the combination and the single strain as well. The strains, they are also authorized in infant food in China, and we have obtained Canadian health claim as, for example, the ProbioKid can help to enforce the body's natural defenses in children. In terms of solutions for infant and child immunity, I would also consider Saccharomyces boulardii by Lallemand. We all know this probiotic is for its beneficial effect on gut health, but beyond that, there are also interesting findings on immunity. So as you can see on these figures, you will see that actually Saccharomyces boulardii is able to increase the level of molecule of the immune system, like for example immunoglobulin levels and also blood cells levels, and has also an effect on the immune response. There are also additional clinical studies on children and adults, and I will let you discover them on the specific website dedicated to S. boulardii by Lallemand. So when we talk about natural defenses, we will need to talk as well and to consider as well our gut barrier. So it is really important to consider that our gut is really part of our defenses in our body, and we need to maintain and consider this really specific barrier. And to do that, probiotics are really champions. They will help in the maintenance of the gut barrier integrity. So as solutions, here we have B-lactis LAV TB94 with 2 clinical studies on children with gastroenteritis, looking at the decrease of the duration of occasional diarrhea. And we have also Placebo Field. This is our flagship solutions with 26 clinical studies in children and adults. So now, still talking about Placebo Field, this is a combination of 2 specific strains that has been also studied in the brain galaxies area. So today counting 12 pioneering preclinical studies in this area, where actually we can really saw the communication between the brain and the gut. But more than that, we also used specific models of early life stress, and we could see that Placebo Field could have a beneficial impact on the behavior and also on the restoration of the normal developmental trajectories. So now we will see how probiotics can support actually teenagers and young adults. And if we look at the graph, we can really see that the millennials, they were actually really suffering from stress during over last year. And it's not only active people, but this specific population also has these specific needs. And on the next slide, we will see how actually the stress is really impacting negatively on immunity. This is a fact. And we see how probiotics can help actually students in this specific situation. So we have the strain Bifidum Roselle 71 that has been studied in a large clinical study, so counting almost 600 academically stressed students, but still considered as a healthy population. And in that case, as you can see on the graph on the right, you will see that the strain Roselle 71 was able actually to have an impact on the proportion of healthy days, so improving these specific parameters, thanks to a significant decrease of 45% of the number of sick days. In a post-hoc analysis, we also saw that the strain was also able to beneficially impact actually stress-induced gut discomfort. Now, it would not have been possible to talk about the current situation without talking about Mast. So I'm not saying here that we have the magic solution, but just to let you know that Lallemand has a specific offer on skin health. And more specifically here, Saccharomyces boulardii has 2 clinical studies on acne and interesting mechanism of action talking about the skin-gut axis. So now if we talk about active adults, so for sure, the active adults, they needed support in terms of immunity, but also in terms of mental health. As we can see on online reviews, there was a huge increase by 72% for adult probiotics for mental health over the first year of 2020. So first we will see how probiotics can support immunity for active adults, and our champion strain is actually L. helveticus LAF-TL10, counting 3 clinical studies in active people. So 2 on the restoration of normal exercise-induced lower immune response. So here this is really in interesting models, as we can really see how the probiotics can actually help support natural defenses and play a role actually on upper respiratory tract infection-like episodes. So as you can see on the right on the graph, so these data have been correlated by actually the increase of a specific marker of immunity. So here CD4 plus CD4 8 plus ratio. And we could also see a beneficial effect on antioxidant potential in healthy athletes. So we obtained a specific Canadian health claim, helps reduce the incidence of cold-like symptoms in adults with exercise-induced stress. On the next slide, I will present you really interesting solutions, which is called Cerebio, a combination of 2 strains. And in that case, this is really a pioneer in terms of psychobiotic. Why? Because we have 5 clinical trials with specific measures of biomarkers, and also a total of preclinical mechanistic animal studies. We have approved health claim in Canada and Brazil at a dose of 3 billion CFU per day. So we are able to say that the cerebiome helps to reduce stress-related gut complications, helps to moderate general feelings of anxiety, and promotes a healthy mood balance. So as an example of results, so on the right you will see in a healthy population and using specific scale, like for example the Hopkins symptom checklist, that actually the cerebiome was able to improve the global severity index, somatization, depression, and anger hostility. And those results were correlated to the significant decrease of cortisol, which is a biomarker of stress. Then, if we look at another type of population, so in depressed participants and cerebiome taken as an adjunct to antidepressant, we could see that cerebiome could have a beneficial effects on BDI score, which are actually the Beck Depression Inventory scores. And we could see that starting with a moderate depression score, we ended the study with a minimal depression score. And those results, they were correlated to the increase of serotonin precursor. In addition to clinical study, we have been able to elucidate actually up to 8 mechanisms of action involved in the brain-gut axis communication. And I will invite you to visit the website dedicated to cerebiome to know more about this mechanism. So now talking about our seniors, because we want to support them as well. So how we can help them with probiotics? So actually, we will be able to modulate the gut microbiota. It is of interest because actually we know that the level of bifidobacteria decreases with the age. The same with immune defenses. We know that the level of natural defenses can decrease with age. And finally, we can also look at their mental health and try to support them. On the next slide, so as a wrap-up actually of the different solutions we have been talking here about. So we have our Probiotics. So this is our solutions, clinically documented solutions we did present here during this talk and targeting different age category. But we also have our unique biotic solutions, which is actually a list of more than 40 proprietary strains with mechanistic data like in vitro and in vivo trials that can also be combined with our Probiotic for unique solutions. And finally, in order to help you make a difference in your market, we can here consider actually solutions for immunity and solutions for mental health in one unique product. So you can decide to choose probiotic bacteria, probiotic yeast, and we can also add actually specific ingredients, so targeting immunity, like for example, vitamin C or vitamin D. And we can also consider additional yeast-based ingredients from Lallemand, like for example, a Lallemand range with standardized level of vitamins and minerals. And for stress and sleep management, we can also consider other ingredients like the more standard magnesium and vitamin B6, but also trendy ones like melatonin and ashwagandha. So all these solutions can be actually formulated in specific delivery forms, in specific packaging, in order to provide a good survival of probiotics. So thank you for your attention, and I really hope that this year we'll find a way to take care of ourselves. Thank you.